Your RIN TV on-demand video will begin shortly. Meanwhile, be sure to register for RIN TV alerts by clicking on the link below. Andy, welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much for inviting me back.
Recently, Sandy Elsas was on our program, and he mentioned issues that some RRGs are having with states like California, trying to keep them from doing business. So what's behind all this?
Yes, what happens is the risk retention group goes to a domicile and decides that Washington, D.C. is a big domicile, South Carolina as well, and they go there and formulate a business plan and start a risk retention group. Now the issue comes up when they start taking a business plan that expands it into other states. So they come into California and they start writing a medical malpractice policy, say for instance, on doctors that are here. Now you have the competition of people like AIG and the Hartford Travelers writing the same medical malpractice policy. Now the retail insurance broker that's involved with all this, sometimes they can access a risk retention group and therefore they don't lose the business, they just move it. Or sometimes they get upset because they've lost the business, and then what they do is they complain to the California Insurance Department, and they in turn say, we don't want this risk retention group writing business here, and then they'll start picking out all the detrimental aspects of a risk retention group.
Doesn't the Risk Retention Act allow RRGs to grow like this?
Yes, the Risk Retention Act permits these originally domiciled risk retention groups to actually expand nationally. And if you look at some of the risk retention reports, most of them have done exactly that. So they're writing policies in all the states. The Risk Retention Act concept is the federal government coming into the insurance industry and giving the advantage to insureds to have options to buy insurance. I mean, this whole crisis was back in 1986 when we didn't have traditional markets actually writing the coverages, and they needed some mechanism to start people having insurance companies and protecting assets of their businesses. Now the problem is that the industry is very competitive, and the need for traditional insurance companies to write the same risks that the risk retention group companies are writing is the competitive atmosphere of the business.
So what will all this mean for RRGs?
Well, the outcome is that they'll just have to keep having a test case to actually bring it in and say, because from a legal perspective, the act is the act, and it's a question of do they have the financial resources to battle in the risk retention group. A lot of risk retention groups don't have that kind of a budget. So what Sandy is referring to is that the fact that they take on a battle, and then sometimes it's just best for the risk retention group say, well, why don't we just forget about coming into California with our risk retention group? It's easier to not spend all those legal fees and not write the business here. The problem with that is that California is the largest state in the nation for premiums. So 1 out of every 8 Americans live in California. And so consequently, we have the most premiums in the state. So risk retention groups are looking at our state pretty carefully here and saying, well, we've got to come up with a way of solving this issue.
Andy, it's been terrific talking with you. Thank you for joining us.
Great. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.